What's good, YouTube? Quinn Wade basketball analysis coming to y'all with a quick video today. We're just gonna break down and talk about Dario Saric, as you can see in the title. I haven't made a video about him. I usually break down the rookies with real game footage and tell you their pros and their cons and where they could develop at and how they can get better. Obviously, last year I missed out up on doing Malcolm Brogdon, Joel Embiid, and all the other rookies because I decided not to even do the rookie analysis, which I'm gonna try to do more this year. Um, but Dario is a sophomore. He was the runner-up to Rookie of the Year because Joel Embiid didn't play the rest of the season. And Dario struggled. He had to find out how he can play, find out how to get his shots. He was learning the NBA. He started seeing that he wasn't as athletic because people at his position was able to guard and defend him. And he was shooting below 30%. Below 40% a lot his rookie year. He was able to pick it up a little bit more at the end of the season. Plus, you got to think about it. They didn't have Embiid. Robert Covington wasn't knocking down threes like the way he was this year. They didn't have J.J. Redick. They didn't have Ben Simmons that can get them open looks as much. And that hurted him because he had to create his own shot. He had to be the guy you scouted because there was no Embiid and no Simmons. Or now they got folks. He didn't really have that playmaker to take pressure off him, get him easy looks, and that hurted his field goal and that hurted his shot selection because he was a guy that had to take late second shot clock shots. He was a guy that had to force up some shots every once in a while, and they were stagnated and they didn't have as much floor spacing as they do now with people like Covington, J.J. Redick, Joel Embiid can stretch out the floor at the 5 position, and you still got players that can come off the bench like Fultz, like Lulalu, and guys like McConnell that can come out and give you a little boost. They have way more talent than they do last year last year they had less talent than what they have this year. And Dario has really played off his teammates. He has really played off Ben Simmons. He has really played off Joel Embiid in the floor space, and he has taken advantage of that. Obviously, his 44% from the field goal percentage don't show it, but 44 is about where you want to be at. You want to be around 44, 45 and above. And considering that he's getting the same amount of shots that he did last year, he's making them at a higher clip. And he did start more games this year than he did last year. Even though the team needed him more then than they do now, they still gave Dario Saric a lot of minutes. Especially because they had a lot of injuries and a lot of players in and out the lineup. Plus, he's playing excellent basketball. He has become a modern day power forward, if you would let me call him that, because he was a small forward. Now he's playing a modern day 4, which is a guy that's athletic that can put the ball on the ground when people run at him. He can put the ball on the ground and get to the paint, or dump it off to a player, or kick it out to a shooter. He can do all that. Not only can he do all that, he can actually shoot the 3, something that he really struggled. Like I said, he didn't have the playmakers and the ball handlers, and he didn't get as much looks, and he did force up a lot of shots because of his ego, because of his confidence. He took a lot of tough shots, especially with defenders running at him and defenders right by him. He just tried to shoot over him, like James Harden, like Steph Curry, like Chris Paul. They like to no dribble, pull up, shoot a 3, but his jumper wasn't that wet compared to theirs right now. He's shooting above average because you want to shoot 36 and above. He's shooting 38. And this ain't something he just did this year. He's been doing this consistently throughout the year, game after game so far. He has shot very well from 3. So it's not a fluke. It's not a gimmick. He's been doing it for months. And he started some games and got even more touches, and he's still shooting over 36% from 3. So you can definitely give him credit for putting the work in, putting the dedication to the time. They know that they needed him to stretch the floor if he was gonna get on the team, because they know Ben Simmons is not really a shooter. He doesn't even shoot threes at all, basically, at this point in his career. And they needed somebody that can knock down shots. That's why they went to get J.J. Redick. And Dario Saric knew that he can feed off Embiid, feed off Simmons, because that's their best 2 players, and they get the ball in their hand the most. And he has really took pride and took that into consideration. Like, hey, if I can knock down threes, I can get more minutes. I can fit better with this roster. And he has. And you need to shoot threes for the space and pace that the game is at right now. if he want to make his career longer and he wants to continue to play in the league, especially at that four position with his length and his size. He's the modern day four, like we all know, and his free throw percentage has been a big change too, going from 78% last year to getting less free throws because he's taking more perimeter shots because he's feeding off Embiid and Simmons at the 3 point line. He's shooting 88% from three. I mean, from the field. From the free throw line, he's shooting 88%, and that has really upped his scoring too. He's shooting less free throws, but he's making them at a higher clip. So that means he's making at least one free throw more a game with the clip that he's shooting, and that has turned him from a 12.8 player to a 14 point per game scorer. And he's shooting more threes this year, and it looks like that's going to continue. It looks like he's going to continue to shoot the threes at a high rate. But if you're making them at the percentage that he's making them at, nobody can really be mad at you. He's giving you 7 rebounds in the 30 minutes that he plays, which is better than he did his rookie season with less minutes. But he's not getting as less as he is. He's getting more this year, but he has transferred that into the numbers. He's getting more assists, but not by much. But I see that continuing to improve, and he averaging 14 points a game. Now the question is, for Dario Saric, I want to ask the people that watch my videos, even if you new or old, can Dario Saric be a starter? Looking at how he's playing off Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, he has shown that he can be a perfect role player for this roster. And honestly, he's showing potential to be even better than that, playing off these guys. And he actually is only 23. He's going to turn 24 years old this season, I should say, because he's going to be playing this season. He'll be 24. And on top of that, he's coming up to that point where people liking him, people watching him, people seeing the fit, people seeing how he play, people seeing him improve, people seeing he's constantly getting better, and people are also seeing the books. And what I mean by the books is the books of Philly. They paid Robert Covington. The second highest paid player on the team is Robert Covington, and he's getting paid $12 million. Another thing that you guys might have noticed this year, they gave another person a contract extension, and his name is Joel Embiid, who will be getting paid $100 million. That's 20 plus million a season, combined with Robert Covington, who's the second highest paid player already on the roster. But wait a minute, he was a rookie. Ben Simmons was a rookie. And Ben Simmons looked like a franchise cornerstone for this team. They took him first overall. Not only that, he's getting a lot of minutes. Not only that, he looks like a player that they're going to want to keep long term. And if they do that, that means they're going to have to pay Dario, and they're going to have to pay Dario, and they're going to have to pay Ben Simmons. And they both the same amount rookie-wise. They both under the same contract. So you're going to have to pay Dario and Ben Simmons at the same time, but you already paid Covington and you already paid Joel Embiid, and JJ Redick getting $23 million this year. That means he's most likely not going to be on this roster anymore. Maybe Luwalu can come in and play under that rookie scale contract and give you some 3-point shooting and some playmaking and some diverse scoring, because they're not going to be able to afford JJ Redick at $23 million a year once Dario and Ben Simmons contracts are there. And Dario, to be honest, I think that they're going to have to give him a cheaper deal. And if they do that and he continues to improve, somebody going to give him the max. They gave Chandler Parsons the max for what he was doing in Houston. And Houston said, no way we giving him that much money. But the Dallas Mavericks did. And he got his $80 million. And he looks bad, and he hasn't really panned out. But even when Dallas gave a person like Chandler Parsons that amount of money, he was never a superstar. He was never an all-star. He was never on an all-NBA team. He was just a good glue guy, a guy that can pass, shoot the three, put the ball on the floor, and still fit in with other stars like James Harden and Dwight Howard, who was going to come, because he can play off players and he can create his own shot and he can shoot the three spot up or contest it. Sounded a lot like Dario Saric, but he got paid from another team. And that's going to bring in, are they going to pay Dario? Because they drafted him. They kept begging him to come over. He came over, had a solid season. He had an improved season this year. And he has shown the ability to play with Embiid and Simmons. And he's been putting up numbers at a limited role. Yes, he's still getting a lot of shots, but he could be even better. He struggled a lot last year, but he's smarter, he's wiser, and he continued to get better. And now he might be in the runnings for a bigger role if they don't want to pay him. Because remember, it's a guy that they picked #1 this year called Markelle Fultz. And after that season, you're going to have to pay Markelle Fultz. If he comes out and be the player we expect him to be, which I still think he would be a great player, you're going to have to pay him too. That's the only thing that's bad about the draft. Like OKC, they drafted Jeremy Lamb. They drafted Perry Jones. They drafted Cameron Payne. They drafted Reggie Jackson. They was getting great players in the draft at the positions that they had. And you have to give the organization and Sam Presti credit. The problem with that was they kept hitting on these draft picks, but they couldn't pay these players. And that's why you see players like Reggie Jackson and them leaving, and James Harden, as we all know, the epic storyline, because they probably would have been in Dynasty by now if they would have kept James Harden, especially the way he's playing. But that's the problem. If you continue to draft quality players, which is not a problem, but it is when you have to pay them. And if they play better than what we expected, or they play better faster in their career, the more they're going to want to go out and prove themselves, the more they're going to want to get traded, the more you're going to have to trade them because they're not going to be happy and they're going to want a bigger role and they're going to have to get paid. Because every NBA player wants to get the playing time. Every NBA player wants the best shot at being a star, being at the All-Star game, being an MVP candidate. You know, we seen it with Russell. Russell looks a lot better without KD than he did with KD. And like I said, Chandler Parsons wanted to stay with the Rockets. But it's that one team that wants to pay him to do the bigger role. Remember, they wanted DeAndre Jordan to stay with the Clippers, but he wanted to go to Dallas for a bigger role and a higher paycheck. And that's what the Dallas Mavericks offered him. And he was technically signed that he was going to do it, but instead he signed back with the Clippers. But it was for a bigger role in the offense and more money. So keep that in mind. Dario Saric is a great player. He's showing improvement. He's showing that he cares. He's showing that he wants to be a great player in his league. But you only can give so many people the max. You only can afford to keep so many players. Plus, you got to pay the bench players. And if you're going to start Dario, or if you're going to bring him off the bench, or you're going to need him, somebody got to go. Somebody gonna have to get traded, and somebody gonna have to take a pay cut. And if they don't want to take the pay cut, somebody's gonna want to pay them, because we never know how the roster is gonna look in the future. Right now, it's not too many teams that I would recommend him to go, but we don't really know in the future what might be a perfect team for him to go. But he's the modern day four. A lot of teams can utilize him and use him, you know, to be that guy that can be like a better version of Miritich, a better version of a guy like Chandler Parsons that can play multiple positions. He can play the 3 or the 4. And right now, I think that he's going to end up doing it because he wants to be a star in his league and he wants to be a starter. But they only can pay so many players. So let me know, is Dario Saric improve? Do you think he's going to be a future All-Star? Do you think he's going to leave? Should he stay with the Sixers? Should he take a pay cut? Should he take pride in that 6-man role? But remember, he's 24 years old. He wants to prove himself. He wants to continue to get better. And in the future, you never know what team might need him. You never know what team might want to sign him. And at the end of the day, if they keep hitting on these draft picks, they're going to have to pay the bench and the starters. And that's a lot of money Philly can't really afford to pay. But remember, they do got his bird rights. So they can offer him more money. They can offer him more years. And that may help him stay in a place like Philadelphia, especially with talent. Check out my website at NosisPlayground.com. Link will be in the description in the comment section below. Also, check out my Facebook page at NosisPlayground.com. Link will be in the description in the comment section below. And let me know what you guys think about Dario Saric's potential star or potential role player or a 6-man of the year. There's only a couple ways his career can go. And you know what the players really want, and you know what the team really want. And that's all I really got to say. I want to hear from you guys.